We've got a problem, guys. Let me go show you what's happening in the garden. First things first, this place is a bit of a mess, so we're going to fix that. But what I wanted to show you were these garlic greens that are coming up. They look beautiful, green. You might think, what's wrong with this? The problem is it's the middle of winter, and they should not be this tall because it makes them very susceptible to frost damage. And while it's been really warm, we did just get our first frost last night. And you can see over here that this mulch, the leaves, the wood chips, it's not deep enough to protect these. So some of them did get hit. They're a little soft and rubbery. Others look great, but knowing that more frosts are going to be coming and the possibility we still might have warm days, which might encourage these to grow more. So I may actually have to scrape leaves from other places in the garden that I would like to keep covered, but just out of priority to keep these garlic greens safe from the frost. I'm going to pull from these sections over here and cover these garlic greens really well to protect them. Over here in this other bed, we have these cauliflower greens that have kind of been tracking with you guys, and they look totally fine. They really are cold weather crops and they're still thriving, which is really amazing. I'm going to rake these leaves from the other side of the bed up over the green ends of the garlic and get them as deeply covered as possible to protect them from future frosts. I would honestly be so sad if I lost this garlic crop because of this warm weather and then the fluctuations to the cold. We'll just have to wait and see. Something really interesting is that my hardneck garlic has not grown as quickly, and so it has stayed protected. This is the chestnut red, whereas the softneck garlic I planted, Italian red, is what grew quickly and has been affected by the frost. Okay, this has turned into a lot larger project today than I originally anticipated, but as you can see, I have some paper down on the walkway. I'm hoping to do this one too. I'm moving a bunch of tree debris that has gathered under my cedar trees to fill the walkways. I don't know if I'll be able to fill this today or not, but I'm hoping eventually I can, and it'll basically act like wood chips. The other thing I did is I was only able to basically cover one row with the grass clippings, so this row is still not very covered. So I might temporarily put paper down here just to protect the soil temporarily until I can find another solution. Okay, well, we did not get very far with this walkway today. I kind of ran out of tree debris that didn't have a bunch of seed pods in it. I'm really not sure about this. Covered maybe half one walkway. Thankfully, it's on top of paper, so I can just pull it off if I change my mind. I might just get wood chips. We'll see. Woke up to a delivery this morning. Looks like a few of the tips might have gotten affected, but the ones that are covered look good. Okay, so as you might have guessed, based on that delivery, today I am going to be fixing a mistake I made in the garden, specifically what I put down on these paths. So, as you might have seen before, I tried using debris from under my cedar trees, and I discovered there's a lot of weed seed in those, and I didn't want little trees sprouting up all over my paths and eventually my beds. So I raked that up. I repented of my sins, and today I'm going to be spreading wood chip mulch, which is what I should have done in the first place. The first order of business is to start off with the layer of paper. I've been enjoying using this construction paper. It's a nice size and width, and I find it a little easier to source than cardboard since I prefer not to use cardboard with dies and tapes and things. It's hard for me to find that. This is just going to give an extra layer of protection in terms of weed barrier and give me a nice clean slate to work with. For my wood chips, I didn't need a lot for this project, so instead of ordering a truckload, I ended up sourcing bags from a local hardware store and got them delivered. I made sure that when I was picking out the wood chips that I wanted to use, I found something that didn't have added chemicals or dyes. And this is because eventually I may end up adding these back into either my compost pile or using as some sort of mulch on top of my garden beds. And so I wanted to make sure it was going to be safe for that in the future. I also looked for something that was just natural raw wood material, didn't have construction materials in it, because this can be a source of chemicals or other just questionable materials that you don't want in your garden. Doesn't this look so much better? One row down, one to go. Does anyone else prefer to spread mulch like this just by hand instead of using a rake? Or is that just me? Just seems way more effective for some reason. All right, I am very happy with the way this turned out. Looks so much cleaner. The beds are more defined, and more importantly, the soil is covered. It's going to help me with weed prevention. It's going to help me just with improving soil life, all that kind of stuff. So I'm very pleased with it. It's a kind of weight off my mind too. Rascal's hanging out with me in the car. He likes to do that. Now I'm going to go move some rocks, so I won't put you through that, but I got to prepare a spot to plant some flowers that I'm very excited about. Hey, it's a chilly morning. It is just getting light outside. It's very, very foggy today. I'm just getting an early start on getting some seeds started because I've got a busy day ahead of me outside of the garden. So today I'm going to start some celery and leeks. This is January 19th. And that'll round out our week. Technically, it's a Monday, but who's counting? So I'm using this Coco Loco potting mix from Fox Farms. And the reason that I'm using this is when I was researching potting mix options out there, I was definitely looking for something that didn't have like chemical fertilizers added. And I was thinking about making my own potting mix. And I noticed that a lot of the potting mixes I was kind of leaning towards, they had a lot of the ingredients that this one has in it. So there is coconut coir. There's worm castings. There are some aged forest products, kelp meal, dolomite lime, and there is some perlite. So it seemed it was a good mix. I've seen it recommended. And then I didn't realize this before, but I guess there's actually some mycorrhiza in here too. So, I mean, it doesn't hurt, I guess, to add a little extra. It might be some different strains. So that's so satisfying. We've got tall Utah celery. And I'm doing 15 blocks today. Celery, like snapdragons, which is in the other section of this tray, require light to germinate. I'm going to do a couple, maybe 3 per block, just to give myself a better chance at a good germination rate. This is new seed, but I've just never done celery before. I don't know what to expect. I'd rather snip a few starts off and leave the strongest looking one than end up with less than 15 celery. I'll probably also do a fall planting, but this is my spring crop. Celery does take a long time. I think it's up to 125 days to maturity. So it is a longer growing crop. So we'll see how that fall timing works out. But essentially what I'm doing is I'm just putting about 3 in each little plug hole. And I'll have lots of extra for later if I decide to do a little bit more later. I'm supposed to gently press down just to encourage contact with the soil without covering the seeds. I will just give them a quick misting as well. So now I'm using these bright lights. The celery should take at least a week to germinate. Snapdragons maybe more like 2 weeks. So I'm not seeing anything yet, but that's normal. Okay, the last piece of the puzzle. Only the best for you guys. Okay, so this tray of 50 is for the Varna leek. And I love leeks. Leeks are delicious. I've never grown them before, so this is feels very experimental. However, fun fact about me, one of my first jobs, I think I was about 15 or 16. Oops. I worked the summer at an organic farm that specialized in cool weather crops. And I was weeding, but they were growing a lot of leeks. I don't know that I ever helped with leeks, but I did enjoy eating them. Oh my goodness, these are hard to see. They're the same color as the soil, so they kind of disappear. But just keep track where I was. Should be okay. These ones I will sprinkle a little soil on top. They're used to popping up from under the soil. Something that I am doing in my seed starting setup that I didn't mention before is I do have a fan that is blowing onto one shelf right now. I'll definitely have to add some more fans once the seedlings have popped up. I have the one going right now because I have a tray of ginger root. It's just a little too damp, so it's starting to get some like white mildew, mold growing on the surface of the soil. And so having it under the lights and having the fans going has corrected that. But the other thing that I have is this is a heated space. And so I have a heater going in here. As I'm adding soil on top of these seeds I planted, I am kind of feeling it with my fingers since this is not sifted. And I'm picky about what I'm using. If I feel rocks or any like large chunks of like woody debris, I am not using that because it'll make it harder for the seedling to push up past it, and I might get a lower rate of successful germination or, seedlings popping through if that was the case. So, because I didn't sift this, I am having to take a little extra time. It's making me think that eventually I'll probably want a sifter in my life. Just like that, we got a tray of 50 leeks started. As always, I've labeled them with the start date, which is the 19th today, and the expected transplant date, which is March 15th. Excited to see how these do. I'm going to give them another quick spritz and a sheet of wax paper on top, like a humidity dome, and set them in on one of my shelves. Okay, that's all for me for this week. But it's such a beautiful morning. I'm gonna do a quick lap of the yard and the garden, and I'll take you with me. Okay, so I've got big plans for this area, and I'll show you more later. But I've just been cleaning up this area to make it more plantable. There are rocks everywhere. Now it's a little more organized and has a border. And then, oh, the sun's bright. It's still frosty. I always check to see if I've got garlic popping up. I've got a little bit here. I'm always adding more leaves on top when I find them still growing and popping up. Try to protect them from these frosts. My garden walks just give me life when it's beautiful like this. Thank you so much for following along this week while I figure things out in the garden, get it ready for the coming growing season. I really appreciate all of you who watch and comment. I look forward to seeing you next week. Until then, have a good one. Bye.